June 7, 2000. 8 correctional peace officers accused of brutalizing inmates at Corcoran State Prison are found not guilty of all charges after a 9-week trial. But victory is bittersweet. For 6 years, the officers have been the victims of federal prosecutors and a relentless assault by the media, which convicted them long before the trial found them innocent.
This is the CBS Evening News.
We have an incredible piece of videotape to show you tonight, and there's an extraordinary story to go with it.
Charges of outrageous abuse, even murder by prison guards.
57 unarmed inmates were shot there by guards. 7 died.
Was Preston Tate murdered? In my opinion, after reviewing everything that I've reviewed, being told everything I've been told, I think he was murdered, yes.
I know some people who followed the case through the media and the paper, and they were just very adamant that they were guilty, and they wanted to know what was so different that we had heard in the courtroom that made us feel differently than what they had read in the paper or saw on the news.
The sad truth of this case is that there was a relationship between the United States Department of Justice lawyers and the press that was unholy, unethical, and factually incorrect.
In the end, it was this unholy alliance of federal prosecutors and the media that was guilty of blood sport, victimizing the officers, their families, and casting a dark shadow on every officer working behind the wall.
On a personal level, those officers went through absolute hell. Many of them will never be able to be correctional officers again. It's affected not only their professional lives, but their personal lives and their interactions with their families.
It was hard on my wife. She was a correctional officer also. We're divorced now. Part of it was because of this, just the stress.
Trying to maintain a normal household with that hanging over your head was a little bit tough.
And I would get up and I'd look at my daughters and everything and wonder, am I going to see them in school this year? You know, am I going to be able to take my daughter to kindergarten?
Created a lot of anxiety, a lot of questions that immediately couldn't be answered.
Am I going to prison for life? Which was ultimately what could have happened if it would have went the prosecution's way, is prison for life.
It began August 21st, 1996, with a story by Los Angeles Times reporter Mark Arax about torture, killing, and cover-up at the hands of correctional officers at Corcoran.
There was never any evidence of beatings or torture or malfeasance by these correctional officers. So it was, it caused me to wonder, what's the press doing?
Arax's story relied heavily on accusations by former officers Steve Rigg and Richard Caruso. Shortly after the Arax story appeared, Rigg and Caruso were featured in an explosive 60-minute segment aired on CBS about brutality and murder at the hands of Corcoran guards.
Convicts at this California prison never knew who to be most afraid of. The guys they couldn't get along with in the exercise yard, or the guards who amused themselves by staging gladiator fights between inmates.
My superiors sometimes called down to the control booth and asked, are you going to have a yard fight? And the staff told them, yes, we are. And they were told, the staff were told, hold the yard up. I have a new secretary that just got on board here at Corcoran. I want to bring her down and show her the Corcoran way.
Richard Caruso, as I told the media in Fresno, is a pathological liar.
I took everything he said to the media and compared it to what he said in the deposition under oath. I found 11.5 pages of contradictions.
Richard Caruso testified and told this jury under oath that he was present when shots rang out, and he would run and respond to alarms and clean up the mess and the blood and the guts and all this stuff from all the carnage that was taking place in this building and caused by these rogue guards who were interested in blood sport and gladiator days. Well, the problem with that testimony is that Richard Caruso, it was proven on cross-examination, was not even in the prison during the time that he said he was there and heard those alarms. But he was assigned to the hospital in Hanford during those specific times 35 miles away from the prison.